everybody, it's Dr. Van. Today I'm joined with Corey Migrant. She's a registered dietitian at Starkel Nutrition, and we're going to do a tour of the grocery store.
Yeah, so today I'm going to be showing you some things to be mindful of when shopping for your food and some foods that I think deserve a place in your cart. So let's get started.
All right, we're going to start in the produce section. Corey, what are some factors that we should consider when we're looking at fresh produce?
Yeah, so in the produce section, something to consider is how much color you see in your cart. Those different colors signify antioxidants and nutrients that provide us with a variety of health benefits. So for example, we've got a purple cabbage here. Purple and blue signify anthocyanins, and anthocyanins have blood pressure lowering abilities and anti-aging capacity. So I like to stock up on red cabbage or purple cabbage because it lasts a long time in the fridge. And I put it on top of salads and my wraps, on sandwiches. I always have berries too, blackberries, blueberries when they're in season, or eggplant for kebabs, stir fries, and really anything. All right, another color that you commonly see throughout the grocery store is red. So tomatoes, watermelon, red peppers, strawberries, and that signifies lycopene. And lycopene is a powerful antioxidant, and it protects our cells from damage to things that cause chronic disease like cardiovascular disease, cancer, and diabetes. All right, another important color that is commonly seen throughout the grocery store is green. So our leafy veggies are packed full of fiber, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants as well. So I try to get in at least 2 cups of leafy veggies a day, or 1 cup cooked vegetables. And in addition to leafy greens, I also try to get in at least 1 cup of cruciferous veggies. They are unique in a sulfur-containing compound called glucosinolate, and it really supports the detox pathways in our liver. So stock up on things like Brussels sprouts, kale, cabbage.
So, I was wondering, what are some of your favorite ways to have veggies? And for someone like me who's really busy, what would you recommend?
Yeah, so personally, my favorite way is roasted because I like it crispy and a little caramelized, especially with Brussels sprouts. And another way to save some time is to already buy pre-prepped veggies like spiralized zucchini or halved Brussels sprouts. It just takes down some of the obstacles with getting into the kitchen. I also really just like sauteing, super quick and easy with a healthy fat, some salt and pepper, and it tastes delicious.
All right, Corey, so when we're in the grocery store, sometimes we'll see the sign that says organic, and I think a lot of us wonder, when is it worth it to choose organic versus non-organic?
Yeah, great question. With organic, ideally in a perfect world, we would be eating it all the time, but that's not always the case with our budgets, right? It costs a little bit more to eat organic, and organic just basically means that that produce was certified to be grown in soil that has no prohibited substance 3 years prior to being harvested. So if someone's on a budget and they still want to eat organically, I would say prioritize the Dirty Dozen. So each year, the Environmental Working Group puts out a list of 12 fruits and vegetables that have the highest list of pesticides or herbicides used on them. So things like strawberries, bell peppers, kale, things that you're eating the whole fruit or vegetable. Now, the Clean 15, on the other hand, you don't necessarily need to worry about it as much. So things like avocados or pineapple, something with a hard outer shell that you're not going to be eating that part. If you are interested in learning more about the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen, I recommend checking out the Environmental Working Group's website. They are a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization that puts out a lot of great resources for consumers when it comes to food, toiletries, cosmetics, you name it. They do a lot of great research for us.
So Corey, I often hear that it's good to shop the perimeter of the grocery store. Why do people usually say that?
Yeah, so the perimeter is full of whole foods, things that you find close to their form in nature, so fruits and vegetables, eggs, dairy, and meat. Whereas the middle aisles really contain those processed foods, those packaged foods, things that have food additives, chemicals, and sugars.
So that leads us into section. So what kind of factors should we be looking at when we're looking at animal foods?
Yeah, so when you're looking at animal-based products, really the theme here is going to be the higher the quality, the better. And that really impacts the fats that are found in those animals. So my main concern with looking at animal-based products is what was that animal's diet. So for example, if we look over here at beef, we have a 100% grass-fed ground beef. That's what I'm going to be putting in my cart, whereas a conventional option is going to be fed on grains or corn, and that's an inflammatory diet for that animal. A cow's optimal diet is grass, so that really impacts the protein and the fat in that product that you're buying. So if you see something that says organic but maybe not grass-fed, that means that the animal was raised in living conditions that accommodate their natural living conditions. So able to be out on a pasture, no antibiotics or hormones. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that they were fed a grass diet. That could still mean grains or corn. If you can find a grass finished product, that's even better. That means the cow was raised on grass and finished on grass. No inflammatory diet was involved there. If you can buy local, that's even better. And when purchasing chicken or turkey, I'm looking for pasture raised. That really lets me know that they were out living their best lives, eating the diet that they want, grass, worms, bugs. Whereas if you see cage-free with eggs or something, that doesn't necessarily mean that they were out on a pasture. They could be still living indoors with thousands of other chickens around them. So turkey and chicken and eggs, pasture raised is the way to go.
Alright, moving down along the perimeter, we're in the dairy section. So Corey, when I'm looking at the dairy section, I always see so many varying amounts of fat in dairy, like non-skim, like nothing, non-fat, and then we have 2% and full fat. What type of fat do you usually pick when you're looking at dairy products?
Yeah, that is a great distinction. I always opt for fuller fat products. It keeps you satiated longer and it tastes better. When manufacturers pull out fat from products, it doesn't taste as good, so they have to add essentially crap back into it to make it more palatable. So when I'm shopping for, let's say, milk, for example, I'm again opting for a grass-fed option, higher quality fats here in these products. So the Organic Valley is one of my favorite brands that I will use, and I will choose the whole milk option.
Alright, continue with dairy. Corey, yogurt is one of my favorite snacks. So I was wondering, I picked out a few of the popular brands in yogurt. Can you kind of tell me what your thoughts are on them?
Yeah, and I agree. It's a great snack. It can be high in protein, high in nutrition, micronutrients. So what I'm really looking for, one is sugar content, because a lot of the yogurts on the market today are loaded with it. And I'm also looking at the ingredients. So for example, we've got the Carb Master here. Very popular one just because people are kind of on a low carb fad right now. But if you look at the ingredient list, it's full of inflammatory ingredients, and the ingredient list is way too long. When I'm looking for products, ideally I'm looking for 5 ingredients or less. We also have Fage. Fage is a really good option for cleaner ingredient yogurts. They also have this 5% milk fat that I really like. It keeps you satisfied longer and it tastes really delicious. What I like to do is opt for something like this over the flavored version and just put my own berries on it, maybe drizzle of honey with some nuts on it. And then we've got options like Noosa, which if you look at the nutrition label, it's got about 30 grams of sugar, which is a lot for a yogurt.
Alright, let's move into a different section. So we're currently in the bread section. I often have bread sometimes. So Corey, there's also many different types of bread. So can you kind of tell us a little bit more about these types?
Yeah. So when I am looking for a bread, I am going to opt for a sprouted option. Sprouting basically just means that they're allowing the seed, that grain, to germinate and sprout. And whole grains, on the other hand, they're not getting to that sprouted process, and they're basically just those grains and those seeds are just ground into a flour, put into this bread. And sprouting, the benefit from sprouting is it reduces phytates in the grains, which phytates block some of the absorption of the nutrients that you find in these breads. So they basically have the same amount of nutrients. However, the sprouted option, you're going to be able to absorb those nutrients a lot more. And sprouted options, they also have less gluten. So if someone has a mild gluten intolerance, they may tolerate this a little better than a whole grain option. And then lastly, we've got typical white bread, where it's kind of stripped of its nutrition. It's stripped of some of that grain. Same with like brown rice versus white rice. It's stripped of some of that fiber and some of those nutrients. So always opt for a whole grain option or a sprouted option.
All right, Corey, well, sometimes I'm so busy that I don't even have time to prep any foods. So I was wondering, what kind of snacks do you usually look to when looking at, quick and easy bars?
Yeah, I always have some sort of bar in my car or in my purse. I really love Epic bars, high in protein, and they use high quality animal products. So for example, they've got their uncured bison bacon cranberry option, super good. I also really like the RX bars. The fact that you can see the ingredients on the front label is a really good sign. You've got 3 egg whites, 6 almonds, 4 cashews, 2 dates, no BS. Love this product. Same with the Lara bar, really clean ingredients too. Only 2 ingredients with this cashew cookie option. One option that is still a good option in terms of the ingredients is Kind bars. They're gonna be a little sweeter, a little higher in sugar, so it's a great sweet treat.
All right, Corey, so when we're shopping on a budget, what tips and tricks do you have for us when we're looking at that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest takeaways if you're trying to shop on a budget is looking at the unit price. So if you look over here at the price label, we've got 60.5 per ounce. So that's telling us how much money it costs per ounce of that product. So if you compare that 60.5 to this pizza over here, you've got 38.8. So you know that you're gonna get more product for less money. And while we're in the frozen section too, buying frozen is a great way to save some money. And fresh produce is flash frozen at its peak nutritional value. So it's a great option to have on hand, and it also saves you a lot of time.
Thank you so much for the tour, Corey. I was wondering if people wanted to find additional information about how to optimize their nutrition, who could they reach out to and how can they reach you?
Yeah, so you can find us at starkelnutrition.com. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We're always posting nutrition tips and tricks, so check us out there.